As beautiful as Damascus is, with all its history and all of its architecture, it has a kind of dark underbelly.
جابوا لي صورة وأنا هيك بدي أسجد لبشار. مين ربك بشار؟ هو أنا مو بنيتي، أنا هو ربي والله.
I think you should give your thoughts, Malaz.
Syria, the land of honor, virtue, and giant scholars. Like this one, Imam al-Nawawi, who compiled this book. It's almost in every masjid. You can check for yourself. One of my favorite chapters is this one, the enormous number of ways of doing good. There are hundreds and thousands of ways of doing good. And that's what makes these guys so incredible. Launch Good. They have compiled hundreds and thousands of opportunities to do good all in one place. You can help build a water well, feed the hungry, build a masjid, help the refugees in Syria, or even help us make some amazing content, all from the same place. And this Ramadan, they are giving you the ability to schedule your donations to choose wherever you want them to go, over 30 days. You can give $5, $10, $100, whatever you want to wherever you want. It's a game changer. All you have to do is sign up from the link below. And every time one of you guys signs up, our fundraiser gets $100 to make more great content like this. Don't miss out this Ramadan and join now. This is Sahat al-Marja, an iconic center of Damascus. Here, hundreds of families gather, not to celebrate, but for something else. So we're here in Sahat al-Marja, and what you can see behind me is a lot of posters of people that have gone missing here in Syria. Their families have come and put notices trying to find and locate their family members. I mean, there's hundreds of posters. What a difficult thing for families not to know where their loved ones are.
13 سنة وأنا أدور لابني.
وما وجدتي؟
لا ميت ولا طيب ما لقيت. يا ريت نلقاه ميت، يا ريت نلقاه طيب، يا ريت بس واحد يقول إنه شغلة عليه يعني. ما في.
قديش صار له مفقود؟
8 سنين.
8 سنين.
إيه.
امتى آخر مرة سمعتي خبر عنه؟
أنا كنت أزوره من 8 نوبات زرته بصيدناية، بس من
كان
سنتين ما زرته.
من سنتين ما قدرتيش؟
إيه منعم عنه زيارة من سنتين.
Allah, her son, an English teacher, he was held in the Sudnaya, in the notorious Sudnaya prison. But what's so amazing about her story is that she saw footage of her son leaving the prison when the Assad regime was overthrown. But until today, she's not been able to find him.
لأنه الناس طلعت فاقد الوعي خالص. طلعت ناس ما بتنعرف. بيرجع شكله متغير. لا أكل، لا شرب، عذاب كتير. فاقد الذاكرة وناس حتى نساء طبعاً فاتت يعني طلعت معها أولاد. أطفال مغتصبين يعني.
وحدا من المفقود يعني وجدوه ولا لا؟
ما في حدا رجع يعني قليل اللي رجع قليل.
These families cling onto any atom of hope they can get in hopes of finding their loved ones one day.
There are over 120,000 people who are lost and missing. And alhamdulillah, after the liberation, people are still have hope to find those who were unknown. They have hope with Allah. Then with the new government, they told me that we hope the new government will spare no effort to go after those criminals everywhere, every country in the world.
So many faces, so many unanswered questions. So many faces, and each one has his own story. Born in 1992, missing in 2014. Born in 1981, missing in 2013. Missing since 2018, his last known location is the Sudnaya prison, the notorious slaughterhouse of the previous Assad regime. Sudnaya prison, a name that haunts all Syrians. So many of these stories came from there. We knew that in order to tell this story properly, we needed to visit this prison. But we first needed help from an unlikely local, Tawqir, a British charity worker who's had the pleasure of calling Syria home for the last 13 years. He's going to guide us through Bashar's prison.
As beautiful as Damascus is, with all its history and all of its architecture, it has a kind of dark underbelly with a whole system of prisons, torture chambers, even the hospitals they use the word masalikh, like places where the skin is peeled off. So there's famous places like Kafr Souseh, Farah, Palestine. There's many of these prisons that are famous. Obviously Sednaya is the one that is the most famous.
The road is dizzyingly long and winding. As the prison is cut off from society, tucked away between remote mountains.
So now we've come into the compound. This, we had to walk up it in the middle of the night. So literally we walked from down the mountain. We couldn't even get close because there were so many thousands of people. But this is a prison, but it's also a military base. Look, you had like BMPs, armored vehicles here. This one's burnt out. It's been there for a while now. You can see the amount of checkpoints coming into the prison. They're all burnt out now. So this road spirals all the way up this mountain, which is inside this complex.
I can't believe the size of how big this prison compound is. We've just arrived into the Sednaya prison, the infamous Sednaya prison, where a lot of suffering took place. We want to check this place out, and subhanAllah, it's a place where just the name of this prison would send a shiver down people's spines. These look like holding cells where they used to hold people in. I've seen these on videos before.
So they would lock people inside. They stand here for hours on end. Loads of them in a line. Can't lay down, can't sleep. Just one of the forms of torture here in Sednaya. You see a lot of this is where people just came random digging. All of this stuff here, there's people digging, trying to find family members, trying to find this infamous red prison. People putting their heads to the ground, people coming with CX, breaking walls, trying to find this place.
When the Assad regime was overthrown, thousands upon thousands of people came and opened up these cells and let all the prisoners out of these cells and into freedom. Just endless corridors of prison cells.
What is that? Communal manager?
Communal cells.
Yeah.
How many people would they have in at one time?
In a place like this, you could expect 40 people.
40 people in a small place like this.
Yeah. One toilet over there. People laying side by side. You can see people's clothes and stuff, what's left of stuff here.
There's a smell, a stench. It smells like an abattoir. I can't begin to imagine the suffering that took place between these walls. We accidentally ran into a 16-year-old boy looking for any signs of his missing dad.
Kid up here by himself, 16. Said, not just my dad. I was in my mum's belly when my dad was taken. And it's not just my dad, my uncle, and my dad's brother as well. So these are some of the solitary cells. But this is not even the underground part.
Just carefully.
There's still windows.
These are the solitary cells. So small. It's like they're counting the days that they're spending in here. It's probably quite difficult to know when's day and what's night when being in one of these cells.
One of the suggestions was that this was used for people to put their arms in, and then these screws would be screwed into their arms. Allahu Alam. If that is or it's not, I don't know. To be honest, I'm not sure. There's a door here, but it was obviously concealed. That's why it's been smashed open. There was another wall on that side. Obviously, what it makes you think is, why, if you're the power in charge, why would you have a hidden prison inside a prison?
The smell here is unbelievable. It's the smell of something rotting. It's like a slaughterhouse.
This is what they say is the makbas, the human press. Put a human inside this and squashed them to death.
Ya Latif, I'm lost for words to be able to describe these scenes. The sight and smells were too much for me to bear. I had to leave the room.
I think you should give your thoughts, Malaz.
Behind these walls, unimaginable horrors took place. Our Muslim brothers and sisters, the people of Syria, they were stripped of their dignity, their humanity and their lives as well. I've seen this stuff on videos before, but being here and seeing it in real life is unbelievable. Unbelievable, unspeakable horrors took place in this place. But as Muslims, as believers, we believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will hold those complicit to account and they will get their punishment on the Day of Judgment. While in Sadnaya, an ex-prisoner told us about her experiences in another one of Assad's dungeons. A word of warning, what you're about to hear is incredibly disturbing.
أنا بكل فخر رايحة ماني عاملة شيء، ما لا إلا بحط لي كلب شكل ورا إيدي. أنا شوف عم بحكي معك لهلا وما عم بستوعب. حطلي بعدين طماشة. أنا هون شلون بدي أقول لك؟ بلش الضرب لما تجيني أنا ما عم بستوعب. رجال يضرب مرة، هو عم يضربني أنا كانت الوحدة القوية الجبروت. فجأة شلون الغنمة هيك بمشوها يلا أضعفنا الغنمة استسلمت. فعم بحكي والضرب عم يجي من هون والضرب لك ويلي اتألم ويلي انه بدك تجاوبه وما بصرت تلكئ بالكلام وويلك انت ما عم بتشوف حدا ويلك مقيد والضرب عم بيجيك من كل مكان. بالاخير عملت هيك اني قعدت على ركبي مشان احمي رجلي احمي بطني احمي صدري احمي وشي واعمل هيك وهن ضرب.
The details of her torture were too graphic to say on camera. Nobody could imagine her immense pain and suffering.
من ربك هذا جزء.
The torture wasn't only physical, it was spiritual and psychological.
كرمال محمد تركوني. تم تعذيب هيك تم كرمال محمد. ما بصير تقولي محمد. مين ربك؟ بشار. جابوا لي صورة وأنا هيك دقدت جدي لبشار. أنا أتذكر هيك إنه يا الله إنه يا ربي بتسامحني يعني بس أنا ما عم بتحمل. هو أنا مو بنيتي. أنا هو ربي والله مو بنيتي بس كنت مجبورة.
How can one man inflict so much pain and suffering onto his own people?
ما كان عم بيألمني شيء، ما عاد أحس بجسمي أبداً. بس اللي كان عم بيألمني أكثر إني يا الله أنا لما بمين بدي استحمي؟ بابن بلدي اللي لازم أتخبى وراه وأقول له احميني من اليهود، أو إذا ابن بلدي هيك كان عم بيعمل لي، إذا ابن بلدي هيك كان بيوصفني.
As painful as it was incredible to see how much hope she still has.
ما بعرف ليش رب العالمين كتب علي الحياة مرة تانية، يمكن لأوصل رسالة أو ومضة أمل للأخوات اللي ما زالوا بأخوية السجون اللي طلعوا من بعد المعتقل، إنه في إنسانة تجاوزت هاي المحنة ووقفت على رجليها وتحدت القيد، كسرت القيد وطلعت لتثبت للعالم إنه النظام ما رح يكسرنا، لتثبت للعالم إنه نحن أحرار بأنفسنا، ما في شيء بيقيدنا. الحمد لله إنه عنا يقين بالله عز وجل. ألا أن نصر الله قريب.
الحمد لله رب العالمين. We're on our way to a mass grave site here in Syria, one of the atrocities committed by the Assad regime.
In 2019, the regime came, took all of the men of the town, forced them to dig up those graves. They brought lots of fridge container trucks, and it took 7 months, and they moved all these bodies to another site. And we came and we basically found this site. And so some of the Syrians that were with us, when they saw the site, they started opening some of those mass graves and pulling out sacks with people's names on them. Sacks of women, sacks of men, sacks of children, and all that's left is skull and bones.
It's a cemetery.
Well,
like, is it an official cemetery?
Well, you take a look and see for yourself.
This is one of the alleged mass grave sites where the locals are telling us that there was sacks and bags of bones and remains, human remains, that were sort of thrown here in this particular place right here.
So you can see, like, each one of these had like 6-7 sacks inside it.
Of body parts?
Yeah, of body parts. So it was just bones. Bayin Mark Shay?
This is one of the uncovered mass grave sites in the outskirts of Damascus.
This guy, let's see what this guy's doing. ساعدك. There you go. So look, this one says Majhul 109, 110.
لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله. سبحان الحي لا يموت.
But it begs the question, right? Why are there people's names in bones
and remains in bags?
And
how many of these bags did you see previously?
In the first one, 7, one family. The next one, about 4. The next one, like, I reckon that day about 20. And this is just what I'm saying. This whole place, this whole place is the same. These are just the ones that these guys opened. I think that. There was an Italian journalist with us, and he said this is called death bureaucracy. When you're doing killing on an industrial scale, this is what happens. There has to be someone writing down names, how many people are quotas, how many people have been killed, etc., etc. So it's really, really sadistic, and it just shows the length. It shows how entrenched this was in Syrian society. It shows how every single family has been affected by stories like this. And that's how the Bashar regime, and before him Hafiz, was keeping an iron fist, a control on the populations and the people here.
This is literally the front line of the army.
You have to be very careful everywhere you walk here because of the mines that the Assad regime left here.
When the rebels were coming forward through these villages, they're actually going through house and house and finding regime members all by themselves.
This is the only thing that's left over from the Assad regime here in Syria.
شيء مو طبيعي يعني والله ولا بالافلام الاكشن بتصير. ما شفت انا هيك اصلا فيلم بحياتي يعني. انا عرفت انه هون الحمد لله البلد متحرره وعين الله علينا. الحمد لله.
This was an incredibly difficult journey to capture, but one that we had to cover. This is the second of a 3-part series where we document one of the most incredible journeys I've personally ever taken. The One Path Network team have collected hours and hours of footage and compiled it into 3 episodes to ensure that this story, the story of the Syrian people, is never forgotten. please make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on the next episode of this phenomenal journey. And while you're at it, don't forget to join Launch Good's 30-day Ramadan challenge. Assalamu alaikum.